Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Goldylocks Productions presents the Live from Little Bear Sanctuary show with Christopher Vane. Enjoy topics such as the vegan lifestyle, sanctuary media highlights, and spotlighting new rescues.
Good evening, friends. Welcome to Live from Little Bear Sanctuary. I'm your host, Chris Vane. If you're watching live on this Thursday, October 21st, 2021, don't forget to sign in, say hello. We love to be interactive. Subscribe, like. It's a great way to, it's a great way to support the sanctuary as well as all the shows on the Goldylocks Productions network. Did you see last week's show, guys? It was a really fun show. I had the founders of Zest Wellness on. So informative. I hope you guys catch it. If you miss any of our shows, we're on demand on the Little Bear Sanctuary Facebook page, the Goldylocks Productions YouTube. And I know we're also live on Rumble. I don't know if we can be. I think you can be on demand on Rumble. I think Tiffany can let us know that. But yeah, we're definitely we're on Rumble now, and I think we're also on demand on Rumble. All right, so our yearly auction is 2 days left, guys. On the yearly auction, it's doing fantastic. Want to thank all the companies again that were so generous to donate so many fantastic items. It's going to end on Saturday. You guys have been so generous. We're killing it. I think we're already over $1,000. And all that money is going to go towards our feed budget for the animals. And what else can I tell you? October 30th, we're going Goldylocks Productions Halloween show. I think it's going to be similar to last year. It's going to be like the old Hollywood Squares format. People are going to get to ask questions. We had a blast last year, so I'm looking forward to that. That's October 30th, 8 p.m. Tiffany, I think it's 8 p.m. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And that's all my news today. I don't have anything else exciting to say. All right, guys. So my guest today, he's the founder of Joey's Legacy. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and their purpose is advocacy for our companion animals. And welcome to the studio, the founder, Scott Fine. Hey, Scott.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. I'm excited to have you on.
Thank you.
So tell me about Joey first. I guess he's the reason this all began.
Yeah, he was the first domino that was knocked over, so to speak. Yeah. Joey was a 12-year-old dachshund that great personality, never was sick a day in his life, never had an injury. We only went to the vet when there was an issue, and which is kind of reflective of my view of the veterinary world. The majority of veterinarians are caring, compassionate. They entered the field for the right reason, because of a profound love for animals. And that was my experience for decades. And then in the summer of 2017, my success came to an abrupt halt. So Joey went to the vet one day with some GI issues, and Joey's regular vet wasn't there that day. There was another vet there, and he did a very quick nose to tail physical and immediately turned and walked out of the room. I said, "Are we going to do some labs?" And he grumbled something, and he kept walking. In comes the vet tech with a syringe, which I thought would be used to draw blood.
Yeah.
For the labs. Instead, it was a shot of a drug called Convenia, which may have its place in the veterinary world. Unfortunately, because there were no labs done, it turned out to be a contraindicated drug. We brought Joey back the next day as he was in the middle of declining. Joey's regular vet was there, and he immediately did labs. And determined that Joey's kidneys were failing.
Yep.
And he kept Joey that second night. And the next day they called us and said, this doesn't look good. You need to make a decision.
Hmm.
And so we did that afternoon, and that was the end of Joey's life.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's that's not an easy place to be in, especially in your situation. My gosh, I mean,
yeah, it was horrific.
Yeah,
but we decided, my wife and I decided to form Joey's Legacy, which we did a few months later.
Yep.
It started as a support group, but it quickly turned into a place where others whose companion animals met the same fate joined us and told us their stories.
Yep.
And we realized this wasn't an isolated case with Joey, that this is actually happening to some degree in the veterinary world. So we formed Joey's Legacy, and 4 years later, we're up to about 2,800 members of our Facebook group. Majority of which told us that we never had a bad experience with a vet. We're here because we heard about you and we want to learn about the experiences of others, so maybe we can better advocate for our companion animals.
Yeah, you know what's really great about social media, and I think this is a perfect example. You really get a larger group who's been through the same thing that possibly you would have never known about before.
Exactly.
I think it really sheds a light on, especially in veterinary practice, some of the things that I don't want to say get overlooked. These are just blatant mistakes that a few vets get away with. Is it because people aren't as educated sometimes with like veterinary medicine, with healthcare, or you think that's part of it? Or?
Absolutely. That's definitely part of it. We believe that, and a lot of our members have said, hey, you know what? I had an experience that I never even, it didn't even dawn on me that my companion animal was a victim of malpractice.
Yeah.
Of course, that was years ago, because Chris, it's been kept under wraps for a long time.
Yeah.
The AVMA and the, those that govern.
Yeah. Is the other one, right? American.
They want it that way. So we've been exposing it for the last 4 years, and we have a book out. Actually, volume 2 is coming out next month. And
I was gonna ask you about the book. Yeah. Joey's Legacy, right?
Seeking Truth and Integrity in Veterinary Medicine. Volume 2 will be out next month, and we have our big documentary that'll be out in the early spring.
Yeah, I'm excited about this documentary. You have, I wrote his name down.
John Bafar.
Yes, thank you. He's done a lot of stuff, right? He's
9-time Emmy winner. He's directed actors like Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah.
If you remember the old Laugh-In show, Artie.
Yeah,
John.
Of course. I'm in that age group too.
Okay. Ally McGraw from Love Story.
Yeah. Wow.
So many. Now he's very well known. He's very well respected, and I feel very blessed and honored that he's willing to engage with us and create what I hope will be his 10th Emmy Award.
That would be amazing. Wow.
He'll definitely deserve it. He's doing a great job.
Wow. Fantastic. So the book, is that available on Amazon like most of the usual places?
Right. So volume 1 came out in February of this year. Went right to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, the other, the regular booksellers. And it's still there, obviously. And volume 2, as I mentioned, will be coming out next month.
Okay. How is volume 2 different than volume 1? Is this like a continuation of what's happening with the organization? Or?
Yeah, there's some content in the beginning of volume 2 that's a little different than volume 1, but the bulk of each book are stories from victims of veterinary malpractice. I believe volume 2 has 34 or 35 stories. Volume 1 had, I think, in the 40s. So the sad part about this, Chris, is that the author of the book, Jerry Robb, I mean, there'd easily be a volume 3 and a volume 4 if, where does it end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's the what's I'm trying to think of how can the average person, how would they know, other than an obvious mistake that, gosh, what happened to Joey? Like, how is there other than obviously reaching out to you guys, what can people do to just be more aware of like how their dog should be treated, or how their cat or their companion animal? It's a tough one, isn't it?
In the world of Joey's legacy, we have a number of podcasts that we present on a regular basis. We have our attorneys are on there talking about animal law.
I watched the last one. It was great.
Thank you. Our veterinarians are on there talking about quality pet care.
Yep.
We invite questions from people. Our experts answer those questions. I dare say anyone that can get through all the stories in each book will come out of it with a much better understanding, much better understanding, a much greater education, and clearly a better animal advocate for their own companion animals. Yeah. Because there's so much in there to learn from the experiences of others.
Yeah, I was, you and I talked about, I was a vet tech for a few years, and I had to, thank goodness I had an amazing vet, truly compassionate. He's actually on our board of directors today. He's an amazing guy. He taught me such incredible stuff. And, you come from a human healthcare background as well as I, so I know that definitely helped me understand much more quickly, dog science, cat science. It made a huge difference. A lot of the drugs are the same. And I've also, unfortunately, I've seen the other side too, which was really obvious. And I'll tell you just about it really quickly. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I was a volunteer vet tech for a animal shelter, and the vet was just, there was nobody watching her. There was no oversight, and it was really abusive. She couldn't even operate the anesthesia equipment properly. And
that's our number one complaint: dental cleanings that go bad. And 9 out of 10 times, it's the anesthesia.
Yep.
Where the dial was on 5.
Yep.
It should have been on 2.
Yep.
As you probably know.
Yep.
By the time they realize what's going on, the patient's in cardiac arrest. They try to revive the patient, and it's too late.
Yeah.
So, these are the things that
But then it's just called an accident, right? I mean, there's no way to, unfortunately.
That's called negligence. There's negligence.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely called negligence, but I think that's such an,
negligence versus malpractice.
Yeah.
Negligence is that. Yeah. Negligence is if you hand your companion animal to the staff member, the dog jumps out of their arms and runs into the road.
Yeah.
And something happens. That's negligence versus malpractice, where they're in the middle of a spay or a neuter. They accidentally sever blood vessels. Either way, we pursue those cases for our members.
Yeah. Having worked in the industry, I'm trying to think, and I hate that I'm going to say this, and I thank God I've never had to see it, but it's so easy for a veterinarian, if there is a malpractice incident, to cover it up. Is that a terrible word to say?
I'll say it for you. Okay. That's one of the 2 things we focus on. Okay. Veterinarians that lie.
Yep.
Say it is what it is. Veterinarians that lie to cover up their negligence, their malpractice.
So that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Most of them don't, but we focus on the ones that do. And the group that's complicit with these vets are all the vet boards. Yeah. They don't discipline firmly. They don't discipline fairly. They allow serial offenders to continue to maltreat their patients, leading to further permanent injury and death. It's just the way it is. And we see case after case after case. I can't recall one case that what I would call fairly adjudicated by a vet board. It's always public reprimand, which most people don't even know about. They don't know where to look unless they're told. And $1,000 fine or a $2,000 fine, which is
nothing.
Bad night, which is a I don't know, a good night out on Saturday night or something, right?
Seriously, right?
Yeah. And probation, which really doesn't impede them from practicing, and some continuing education, which ironically might be the biggest pain in the butt for them.
This is fascinating, Scott. I having been in human healthcare, the accountability, it's all in place. I mean, there definitely is negligence in human healthcare for sure. Also,
absolutely.
But there's just not much oversight.
There's really none
in the veterinary world.
There really is none.
Yeah.
And if vet boards would, and they won't because it's a self-governing organization, they take care of their own.
Yeah.
But if they would start disciplining firmly and fairly, we wouldn't have be in the situation we're in, where Joey's Legacy gets one or two inquiries a day from all over the country, actually all over the world.
That's a lot.
How do can you help me?
Right.
I think my vet did this or did that. So we they send their medical records and a brief description by email to one of our vets. They review the case. If they determine that malpractice or negligence occurred, they'll offer to write an opinion letter, which goes to one of our attorneys in the state where the alleged malpractice occurred for review, and they provide legal options to the member.
Fascinating. So are these attorneys, you're obviously a nonprofit. Do these attorneys work gratis in this case, or is it more
a few do, most don't, but their fees are well below, you'd almost wonder why they're even bothering.
Okay. That's I'm glad they're helping out.
Because it's not about the money. And the same with the vets.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the same with the vets, Chris, because they are the ones that are, calling out their colleagues in writing.
Good. Oh, good.
And we don't have enough of
it.
If ethical vet, let me tell you this. In 2006, veterinarians were the number 3 most respected profession in a Gallup poll behind nurses and pharmacists.
Wow.
2006. Try to find them on the list today.
Yeah.
If the ethical vets, which it represents the majority, would have been calling out their colleagues, and I know a lot of them do. A lot of them on our team tell us, "Hey, we've tried to go to the vet board.
Yeah,
they ignore us too."
Right.
So, and let me also clear something else up, Chris. What I call bad actors in the profession.
Yep.
It's not a veterinarian that commits an act of malpractice or negligence. A bad actor, in my book, is a veterinarian that commits an act of negligence or malpractice and lies about it, tries to cover it up.
Sure. And
that is like we're now able to sue for fraud. We had a case in I think it was Indiana, where the vet did a surgery on a patient, told the pet parent, that leave him here overnight. I've got someone that's here 24/7. The next morning they came in, the dog had passed, and there was nobody there. There never was anybody there. So that vet was sued for fraud, misrepresentation. So it's no longer just about your pets or property, and if you can prove negligence or malpractice, you're entitled to reimbursement of your veterinary costs plus a replacement value dollar amount for you to go bring in another same breed.
Sure.
We're well beyond that. That was what we were told. That was the propaganda we were fed all the years.
Okay.
But with the advent of Joey's legacy, we've proven beyond a reasonable doubt that those days are over, and we're moving forward to enhance the value and the respect that our companion animals get.
That's amazing. How do you put a value on an animal's life?
Right,
Just
you
like a
can't.
human, right? It's impossible.
You can't.
I find that. I mean, I think in most states they're still considered property, unfortunately, right?
Right. Exactly.
So that right there is that's a whole other separate conversation, right?
Absolutely. And there are some states, including Tennessee, that will allow emotional damages to be awarded in a malpractice case. Only a handful. We're working on adding more and more states to that. And our law team is part of that effort.
Yeah. Are you seeing the case that you guys have won and have and these vets have been called out, et cetera? Are these vets changing? Are they?
We have no way to know.
So they're obviously, I'm sure they're all still working.
Well, I'm sure they are. We have no way to know because, from my perspective, I only know the little bit that some people come back and tell me, because most of these cases settle out of court. We've only had 2 go to court in the last 4 years. Wow. The ones that settle out of court are usually forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's kind of like I send them out, get the referrals, they pursue the matter, and they're in the group, they're commenting, they're posting, but they don't come back. Very few come back to me and say, "Hey, guess what? I got this settlement. I won the case." I don't hear that, and I'm kind of glad they're following the rules, because
that is good. Yeah,
I'm not interested in knowing. Yeah. I respect everybody's privacy.
Sure.
And that's why and we're a balanced group, Chris. We don't, we know there's great vets, and we know there's a handful that aren't, and the handful that aren't are the ones that we pursue. Yeah. So we're not we hate all vets or
I totally can see that.
That's why we've done as well as we have.
Yeah. Scott, I'm just going to see if anybody has any questions, because we're live. I'm just going to go down the list all field. Say hello to some people.
Sure.
Who's here with us? I gotta go. Hey, Michelle, how are you, sweetie? Elizabeth. Okay. If anybody has any questions for Scott, we're like on a 10-second delay, Scott. So
okay.
Okay. Oh, Audrey. Hey, Audrey, how are you? Audrey's sister, we rescued her pig Willie. He was our first rescue here at the sanctuary, and
cool.
He's here with us tonight. So
that's great.
Yeah, we love Willie. He's a good guy. All right. Tell me a little bit more about the documentary. You guys still needing funding for that?
We are. We definitely need some more funding. And the simple way to do it is in addition to making a one-time donation or whatever people want it to make, they can join our Facebook group, Joey's Legacy Vet Mal Victims. Okay. And we ask for $5 a month, and we provide all the podcasts, all the information. Or if you ever need one of our vets or attorneys, you'll get a preferred rate, even lower than, for non-members. We got lots of benefits for $5 a month, and that's all we ask. We're not here asking for $100 or $1,000. If someone can afford $5 a month and they want to be part of what we're doing, we'd really appreciate that very much.
And that's via the Facebook, right?
Right. They can go to, if they want to donate, they go to Joey's Legacy. Also. I'm sorry.
Your website has the links also.
Right. It's Join Us is one of the tabs at the top.
Yep.
And just go through that, and that's a simple way to do it.
Fantastic. What, having gone through what you went through, starting this amazing nonprofit, what's the hope here? Where do you see this going? I mean, obviously it's growing amazing. You guys are doing fantastic things. What's your 5-year outlook for this?
So between Jerry Rob's books, however many there end up being, and John's documentary, we have 2 goals: expose what needs to be exposed and educate the public, which they kind of go hand in hand. We don't want people to be blindsided by the bad actors in the profession. We want them to be aware of, maybe if they read Jerry's books, they'll read all of the stories and they'll encounter a similar situation with their vet, and they can recall, oh, hey, wait, I remember someone in one of those books I read went through the same thing, and here's what they did. So now I'm armed with that education. I'm armed with that information. Okay. And that's what we're trying to do. We know that vet boards are governed by, in most cases, the governors of those states, and they're going to continue to do what they do. Bad actors are going to continue to lie. So we can't control that. But what we can do is make people aware that this is going on so they can better advocate for their own animals. And that's what we're trying to do with the documentary. We have members all over the world. We have a large following in the UK, Australia, Canada, Japan, all over the world.
Yeah.
And, our vets will, render opinions on medical records that they're sent, no matter where the member or no matter where the person is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you guys list the veterinarians that have sort of come on this list of people who maybe you should avoid, or is that something that's you're not allowed to do because of non-disclosures and all that?
I got shot down by our lawyers.
Okay. Makes sense.
No.
Yeah.
Just do what you're doing. You're making an impact.
Yeah. I know we're going to show your the sizzle reel after our chat, and I thank you for letting us show it. It's going to be shown on Facebook tomorrow, 8 a.m.
Facebook Live tomorrow in the group. In
the malpractice group. Is that the group / Joey's Legacy on Facebook?
Right. So it's facebook.com/group/Joey's Legacy.
Joey's Legacy. Perfect.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Final thoughts? Anything I missed?
I appreciate you giving me this time, because the more people that know about this, I feel like the more animals will be saved.
Yeah, for sure.
From either permanent injury or demise. Yeah. And it's really important that people get involved with this, especially those that have companion animals in their home.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, vaccines. Yeah. Let's talk about the vaccines real quick, because it's actually, we talk about it a lot in Florida. There's a lot of, and I think what's really great is there's this great education going on the over vaccination of our pets. You're doing some stuff in that field too.
Well, we're trying to enact laws. Delaware is the only state right now that allows veterinarians to accept the results of blood titers as proof of immunity against rabies, which would, preclude the need for a vaccine. We're working in, I think, 7 or 8 other states. Chris, the real authority here is Dr. John Robb, who is a pioneer in that field.
Yeah.
Protectthetpets.com is a great resource for all of your viewers to go to.
Thank you.
He lays it out so perfectly.
I've seen some of his talks. Yeah, amazing guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
awesome.
really a great guy.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I learned a lot. I hope, we have a lot of viewers, so I'm excited that this is going to be seen by a lot of people. And I think we're going to have Tiffany play the sizzle reel for the documentary.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Great to talk to you.
You too.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So Tiffany is going to play the sizzle reel for the documentary for Joey's legacy. And while she sets that up, let me see. Okay, here we go. I'll shut up. I don't hear anything, Tiffany. I don't know if that's... We're just fixing the sound issue. I'll just chat a little while we technical difficulties on a live show. So guys, while Tiffany fixed that, my guest next week, where's my notes? You guys know me and my notes. My guest next week, I'm really excited about my guest next week. Her name is Nicole Jersaway. She is a celebrity plant-based chef, and she runs a nonprofit, the Martha Project. Oh, here we go.
So I have forever been an animal lover.
Pets are very important to me, sometimes even more important than actually blood family members.
I couldn't make it without animals. I couldn't.
We made a decision not to have children. Our dogs became our children.
To me, in my mind, there's dogs, and then there's Great Danes.
If I come home after a bad day, there is guaranteed unconditional love from that animal.
It's hard to summarize the profound effect that animals have on your life.
Never did I ever encounter anything like veterinary negligence or malpractice.
We blindly accepted a medication that, in the end, killed my dog.
They weren't going to give us any feedback on his conditions until I had given him a check for about $4,000. That was just to get things started.
And this time, it was really hurtful because of how her life ended. It was due to an uncertified kennel worker overdosing her.
It's no different than a brother or a sister or a child. You love that animal and you care for that animal so much that you would do just about anything for that animal. And when a vet takes it upon themselves to euthanize because they don't feel like you can afford it, that's not right. That's not right.
I requested labs. The vet literally refused. He said that he knew what was wrong with Joey. He didn't need labs.
What I absolutely hate is when veterinarians guess at what's wrong and say, well, if you don't want to spend money on any tests, let's just give some steroids and antibiotics and send you home. If they don't get any better, then bring your pet back in again. Then maybe we'll do some diagnostic tests.
So he gave Joey a shot of a drug that we found out the next day was actually contraindicated for his condition.
That presents one problem in that what if your pet has early stage kidney failure and we just gave steroids and antibiotics that are going to further kill the kidneys? Whoops, oh darn it, sorry we did that.
The veterinary profession is a self-governing organization that takes care of their own.
I decided to file a grievance with the State Board of Veterinarians.
One of the major problems we have with the way courts look at pets is they regard them as property.
You know, like a toaster or, you know, a handbag. And we all know that that's not how it is. We're veterinarians and we know that.
They don't learn because there's no firm and fair disciplinary action imposed by these vet boards. If they imposed firm and fair discipline, we wouldn't be in half the mess we're in.
He went through so many procedures, so many unnecessary procedures, but at the time, we blindly trusted them. We thought that Otis was going to survive and he was going to get better. They gave us so much false hope.
So as long as I was keep writing the checks, they would figure out a way to keep the dog alive.
That vet killed my dog. I told him, you killed my dog, and you can't convince me otherwise.
All of us as veterinarians, this is the secret that no veterinarian wants to talk about. Every one of us have lost animals that we didn't expect to. Usually it's under anesthesia. I have. Thank God it's only been 2 or 3, I think, in my entire career. But that's 2 or 3 too many. That's 2 or 3 devastations for clients.
Why didn't I know this was going on? I mean, I was a medic and I was in the medical industry and I know what goes on with humans, so why did it ever cross my mind that it went on with our pets?
Just happened to be on Facebook Googling and I came upon Joey's legacy. And I couldn't believe how much more this was happening. You know, I thought, oh, you know, this is a rare case, but it's way more prevalent than people imagine it is.
Initially, Joey's Legacy was a support group for bereaved pet parents, parents of companion animals. And then we realized there was a need for an organization to help the bereaved seek justice if they had allegations of negligence or malpractice.
So there's an effort, largely through Joey's Legacy, to reclassify pets as sentient creatures rather than inanimate objects, which would thereby give them more value in the eyes of the court.
So Joey's Legacy, I credit Joey's Legacy with allowing me to get out of bed in the morning. The advocacy is incredible, what Scott's doing. And he was the one who actually helped me find my attorney to take on this case.
Call Joey's Legacy or write Joey's Legacy an email or a letter, and Scott will team you up with a lawyer and a veterinarian in your state that will look over your records, and they will tell you, and they tell you the truth, but they will say, yes, you have a veterinary malpractice or negligence case.
What we're trying to do here is expose what needs to be exposed, what's been covered up for a long time.
This documentary is so important, in my mind, my opinion, is that we have to get these stories out there, make people aware that this is something that isn't, you know, a rare occurrence. It's been happening all over the United States.
The majority of veterinarians we're going to find out there are competent in their trade, for the most part, not to say that we don't all make mistakes. But if you have a veterinarian that's arrogant or won't listen to you, that's a much bigger danger sign. They may take more risks, they may be less honest, and I think you deserve the best.
I only hope that Noah's loss can keep other animals safe and healthy, and that we can look at the vet world and try to fix what is wrong.
Be accountable. Don't forget your humanity. Don't forget your compassion. Don't forget what drew you into this profession in the first place, because it's a glorious profession. But don't be on the wrong side of Joey's legacy.
So we want to expose to the world, and certainly to the 85 million parents of companion animals in this country, what's going on, and they need to be better educated so they can better advocate for their own companion animals.
You can help us to complete our documentary by donating to Joey's Legacy Now. Our goal is to improve the lives of all companion animals. Thank you.
Great sizzle reel. Thanks, Scott, for letting us share that again. I hope everybody will check out joeyslegacy.org. $5 donation will help them tremendously. They also have a Facebook page. I know Tiffany's got all the links up. Please check them out. All right. Thank you again, Scott. You're great information. All right, so I'll pick up where I was talking. My guest next week, I'm really excited about having her on my show. She's a celebrity plant-based chef, Nicole Ursula. If you don't know about her, she's the founder of the nonprofit The Martha Project, and what they do is they serve high-quality plant-based meals as a way to connect and care for the homeless in their communities. They're out in LA. She's doing amazing stuff. I'm honored to have her on the show next week. Got to say a special thank you to my buddy Will Callaghan. His company is Will Callaghan Celebrities. He's in London, UK, and he's responsible for getting Nicole and I together next week. So thank you, Will. Really appreciate it. And that's the end of the show today, guys. I'll be back for a full hour next week, kind of doing some shifting around the show a little. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me the last 2 weeks for the shortened shows. So yeah, excited for next week. Thank you, everybody who's been watching live. Let me see if I missed any comments before I sign off. All right. That's it, guys. This is Chris Vane signing out. Remember, peace begins on your plate. Love you guys.
Don't want the fun to end? Grab more refreshments. Then head over to the Goldylocks Productions YouTube channel. With the huge selection of shows, the fun doesn't have to end.